What's good? What's good? Welcome to the Epic Entertainment Critics. I am Antoine,
I'm still James.
and we got this review for y'all. It Chapter Two. Before we do that, I got intro. All right, we back. Okay, so It Chapter Two came out this weekend. We both checked it out. It was a long it was a long watch. It's almost three
Yeah,
hours, man. And I started feeling it to
like
the end,
just
dude.
short,
Huh.
short. Like that was me, man. I think like probably about after at 2.5, like every couple of minutes, I had to stretch to keep myself from locking up.
Yeah, I mean, and it's also, man, I'm drinking a Slurpee and shit. Every time I do that, and I see a long movie, though, and I'm trying to watch the end, so that's the last time. That's the worst time to walk out on the movie at the end. So you don't want to miss the end. You stayed that
Yeah,
long, and I had to pee so bad, man. I'm like fuck. I'm squirming in my seat, like fuck. I don't want to walk out and miss the fucking climax of the movie. I'm
see
like,
that's
God damn
see, and that's what made my mind up when I went to see it. Like I'm
it.
standing in the line to get a drink. I'm like, man, this is like almost a 3 hour movie. You know what? Let me not. Let me
Yeah,
not.
I'm gonna. They need intermission in 3 hour movies. So I see. So all right. So it chapter two, man. The first it came out 2017, right?
Yeah,
Okay. So yeah, we went to see that and we reviewed it. I think you know what that review is up on the old channel because I had to redo the channel. So I have to find it. I think I got the audio review on SoundCloud, but I'll look for it. But we reviewed that. Excellent movie. That I gave that an epic. That was like one of my favorite movies of the year. One of the best horrors I've seen in decades. uh,
definitely the best reboot that's ever been made.
yeah. Um, and well, originally the one was it was a mini series, but still, I used to like the original too, though. But it lived up to the original. All the kids were great.
Yep.
Pennywise, Bill Score was great as Pennywise. So it was like one of those movies where you do such a good job. Can you follow up? You know, that's the gift and the curse. That's the gift and the curse. When you do something great and you got the part two coming, you got to do better. But it's so hard to do better.
Well, that I think that's one of the good things about these kind of movies. If you just keep it moving, like instead of like waiting to see if you're going to get a sequel, if you're like, no, no, we're going to have a sequel, so let's make part two.
Right. That
I
made
think that
you. Right. I'll go ahead and finish what I'm saying.
yeah. So like that's your mindset, like we're making part two, I feel like you can keep that energy going longer.
Right. The fact that you plan the part two makes it even better. And like you said, just keep the story going. It ain't you're not gonna just hey let's redo what we did. No, we just stop and we're gonna continue. So I mean I think that's a great idea, knowing that you got the part two. Uh, so let's go ahead and talk about this movie. So okay, the first they were all kids, and
Right.
it was about it is okay. First of all, Pennywise is not. I mean, he is it, but it's Pennywise is just a form that it takes, and it always used Pennywise to scare these kids. It's some kind of form, entity, or whatever that feed off the fear of
It's
kids. Or no, it feed off fear in
yeah,
general.
fear in general, it's like an extra dimensional entity that crash landed on Earth.
Right, but you don't get that. You just know that it's just some
Right.
kind of something that's haunting this town, and they keep seeing this clown Pennywise, and that's how the original movie was. And these kids that were so hunted by him all teamed together. They called themselves the Loser Club because they was all kind of like outcasts or whatnot or nerds or whatever, and
Yeah.
they all teamed up to beat the clown, to beat Pennywise. And then now this is when they adults. Now they adults and they all moved out of the town, which was a great idea. which what I would do, except for one of them. Um,
Right.
so they all adults and they all moved out of town, but somehow Pennywise has resurfaced 27 years later. 27 years later, like I would give a damn.
Like that. That's probably the first thing that comes to mind when you walk in. It's like, wait, y'all came back.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna get to that, man. I'm gonna get to that because okay. So things they changed, right? In the first movie, the person that see they first of all they changed the what the characters did in the first movie. I don't know. It was okay when I seen the movie, but now to seeing this movie, this movie is following the book closer, right? In chapter
Mm-hmm.
two, they follow the book a lot closer, and the things that they changed in the first one, it don't coincide with this one. And what I mean by that is the character Mike in the book was the one that was researching all the history on dairy and kind of reading all these books. And they gave that to the other character. What's the other character? He's the fat
Ben.
kid. What's his name?
Ben.
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 Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So they gave that to Ben. They took what Mike did in the book and gave it to Ben, which I don't know really why, but but in this movie they switched it back. You know, as an adult, Mike was the one that was still in the library reading about dairy and reading on the history and all that. And he was the one obsessed with getting everybody back together, which goes with the book, originally book, but it don't go with the original movie because that character
Right.
Mike did not. His character would have not been where he is now. I believe. You know what I'm saying?
That was something else that got me. Like I can't see that in my head.
Right. I
How
mean,
that happened.
the way they did his character in the original movie, he had no reason to stay. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Yeah.
unless he had owned a family business or something, and that wasn't the case. And I remember in the old movie, Mike was still working in the library as a grown up, and then he's the one that started calling everybody up and like, "Look, we got to get back together because it's back or whatever," which is cool. Like I said, it didn't match up because they changed that little thing. That was one change that I think they probably shouldn't have done from in the first movie, but it still was fine. It didn't match up for us this, but that's fine. So Mike trying to get everybody back together because it came back. He's been researching and he's finding out it's been a lot of killings and it's following Pennywise mo or whatever. Okay, so now you remember in the original story they all get back together, but why do they all get back together in the original one? Do you remember?
I don't.
Okay, so in the original, it's how their first reaction was, nah, man, fuck that. We ain't going back. We ain't got no reason to go back. I'm good.
Right.
Pennywise kept fucking with them like where they was at. So they all say, okay, we gotta come back and stop this clown. But that's not what happened in this.
Because that's actually even what I was expecting. Like even not realizing that's what I was expecting was going to happen. You
Well,
know.
yeah. What they changed was they just said that they didn't remember anything. So he called them. It's like, hey, yeah, we got to get back together, and they all kind of came back just to meet up as friends. Like for and that was kind of weird that they don't remember. I don't know how. I don't remember is that. I guess that's how the book was, but they didn't remember any of what happened. So what they did was they was like, well, we just going to meet with an old friend. Like I don't get how they don't remember that. So is that from the
Like
book?
I don't like this is one of the rare cases where I did not read the book. But I don't know, man. Like because I don't remember them doing that in the miniseries.
Right.
So
See in the miniseries, I liked it a little better because when they was like, no, we ain't going back, fuck that. Pennywise was like popping up in their daily life.
right.
They was just trying to go to work or whatever, and Pennywise pop up and like, hey, hey, fat boy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was to a point where he was just harassing and fuck with them so much that they was like, okay, let's go kill this clown. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
In this case, they really didn't have no reason to stay and fight the clown because he wasn't after them until they got back. Then he started
Yeah.
to mess with them a little more, a little bit.
Like not only that, but like he wanted them to come back.
Right,
Like they were free and clear, but then homeboy called them back.
right. But
Yeah.
see, they had no reason not to leave. They didn't have nothing at stake because Pennywise wasn't showing up in their life. You know what I'm saying? They was just living their life. They
Exactly.
didn't remember. So to me, it's like, okay, y'all don't have no reason to stay. I'll be out. You know, um,
Almost everybody, like pretty much everybody to a T, became extremely successful.
right? Yeah,
Like, why would you come back to this nothing town you can't even remember?
yeah. I mean, and we talking about risking. We're talking about life and death. So that was kind of one of my issues with the movie. I felt like it wasn't enough Pennywise in this movie, man. It was more focused on their life, but
Yeah,
it was a little less Pennywise. Did you feel that?
yeah. Like even in the flashbacks, Also, something else because I wanted to ask you about. Seems like he was still fucking with them after they got rid of him.
You talking about? Oh, but no, that was in the flashbacks though.
Yeah, but the flashbacks, it looked like that big fight wasn't that after they got rid of him, or was that
I
supposed
guess
to
that
be
was
after?
in between. That was stuff that we didn't
Okay,
see. That's how they were trying to say that was in between stuff we didn't see
okay,
in the other
fine,
movie. So they kind of blended
okay,
it with the flashbacks. So they all
okay,
added a new scene with Pennywise with those flashbacks, which is which is cool. That might have been extra scenes that they wanted to put in the original and they couldn't fit, or
yeah,
they went with the movie. So I like all the actors that they chose to play the adults because they all really favor all the kids, especially the one that had the germaphobe one. Like he looked just like
yeah.
him.
Looks just like like that was the one that really got me. Like the second he come on, I'm like, oh shit, I know who you are.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Well, like even James McAvoy bringing that stutter on, like, and not
Yeah.
bringing it on until the memories start coming
Right,
back
right,
too.
right, right, right. They did a good job with that. So the acting was good. They all did a good job. Even the guy who played Mike, the old Spice. What's his name? I can't remember. It's Mustafa. What's his name?
Mustafa, God, I
Well,
can't remember.
he did a great job too. Um, but it's just the character to me didn't match up for what they did in the first one or whatever.
Yeah,
But all the actors did a great job. Jessica Chastain, she looked just like the girl,
yeah,
Beverly, the girl that played Beverly. So they all look just like the counterparts. So I really like that. But see, like I said, my problem was Pennywise was like, it was more about them coping with it more than than showing Pennywise. And it was and I'm gonna say this one thing too, man. They turned the gore factor up with the kids, man.
yeah.
Dog, did you expect any of that, man? Usually,
Nah,
usually they cut away when they did stuff with kids. They let you see everything what he was doing with the kids and shit. It was kind of gruesome, man. How'd you feel
like
about that?
even like some of the suspenseful stuff that wasn't straight on gore, like just leading up to it.
Yeah,
Like,
those are
like
all actually good suspenseful moments, like the part when he was
yeah,
under the bleachers in the dark, and then
yes,
the lightning thing, the little lightning bug come and show him. Stuff like that, shots like that was actually incredible, even though the
yeah,
outcome of that was like horrific. But just that stuff like that, I really enjoyed. But
you know,
it was less of that though.
right, and I actually really wish they had more of those moments because that was one of the greatest things about the first one. And in a weird way, it kind of showcases how good it is at building fear. Because
Yeah,
one of the biggest parts of fear is the anticipation.
yeah,
Like, there's that moment with the girl under the bleachers where he's counting to three and then he stops before he gets to three,
yeah,
and he makes that a part of the moment.
yeah.
You
I know.
know,
I know, man. He's so creepy and fucked up. It's bad. And I be thinking, why these parents let these kids just wander off so much? I'm so mad at
like
these parents, man.
like the worst place in in all the whole country to be a kid. Like None of those adults give any kind of
Dude, all the disappearances they have, I don't know why they not doing like a police investigation for like a predator or something,
like
because
the FBI should have been called in. God damn.
yeah, so they finding body parts, dismembered kids, and nobody's doing no investigation. So anyway, so they come back and they like we got to take on Pennywise. At first, I felt like they didn't have a reason, and then one of them witnessed Pennywise do one of these horrific acts. So he's like, we got to stop him. So that kind of made him more, it made it personal, and it made him more motivated to stop him. I was feeling like, hey, he was gonna not leave y'all alone anyway. So y'all guess y'all got to.
Yeah.
Um,
But the second they set foot in town, it was going to come to that.
right? Yeah, I know. It's just the fact that if they never came back, they wouldn't even have to worry about it.
I
And
mean, though they did give that like one bit of information there, and I kind of wish that like they had made it something that they were aware of prior, which was the bit when they said like when they went up against Pennywise the first time, some piece of him had infected them.
oh, did they say that?
Yeah, and so like eventually all of them were going to like die horribly because of it. Like
Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah.
Beverly
That made them
even
say,
said,
okay, well, we got to, because she's like, oh
yeah,
yeah, we all gonna die if we don't do it. Like,
yeah.
oh, thank you. That more like a plot device, though.
Right. Like that, I was a little bummed out about. Like whether that had been something that they were aware of from the jump, like something they knew was happening while they were off living their lives, and that's why they came back. But it was just, oh, before you try to run away, this
Yeah,
was going to happen to
yeah.
everybody.
They played it like you don't have a. We don't remember why we was asked to come back, but we don't know why. And when we come back, oh, that's right. We had to fight some. We fought a killer clown that almost killed us, and we got to fight him again. No, thank you. They say, oh yeah, but if you
Right.
don't do it, you're gonna die. Oh, well, I
Yeah.
guess I got to now.
But you couldn't have led with that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, if you'd have led with that, nigga, I would have been nowhere near that town. I've
like
been in Canada
like
somewhere. So, okay, let's talk about some of the bad things. First of all, was it really scary? Was that movie scary? Was it real scary to you?
no,
That's my problem. That was my
no, it
thing.
wasn't.
It's not scary. The moments where Pennywise was baiting the kids in, those were real creepy, eerie moments and
Yeah.
stuff. But it wasn't scary. I didn't the horror factor I just didn't feel. You know what I'm saying? It feel
Yeah.
like, I don't know, maybe because we've been through this already. We already know what Pennywise is on. But it just wasn't that
Yeah.
scary to me. That's
Well, like
all.
I think a big part of it is when you're watching it, like you can see him working, you know,
Uh-huh.
and in a way, it seems more like it feels more like he's trying to be funny and he doesn't get how to be funny in
Yeah.
this one.
And he's always drooling and shit because he's about
Yeah,
to eat these kids or
you
something.
know,
Fuck.
got the cartoon tongue up against the glass, you
So
know.
okay, speaking of, I'm glad you said that, man, because a big problem I had with this movie now is what they did not do in the first movie. The CGI, man, they upped a lot of they put a lot of CGI in here that was not in the first movie, and that made the first movie so much better. That everything was
Because it was
practical.
real. It made the fear real,
Yeah,
you know.
this dude, they had a couple of CGI little, like, I guess Pennywise made some constructs of people or whatever, and they was all CGI and it looked fake. The
Yeah,
girl, the big lady that came after Beverly looked so fake. I'm gonna tell you what, they did get me with the sound effect though, where when it was stumping, when it was like stumping in the dark and it just came out the dark. Like that was a
yeah,
little, they gave me a little joke. But when it finally came out the dark, it was like a big CGI. It looked like
yeah,
it looked like Schmeagol, Golem. It,
yeah, yeah.
it looked like the fucking
You
Lord of the
know,
Rings dude, man. I
well,
was
like, because one of the things that I really liked about the first one, like, and you see it a lot when, like, when Ben is in the library,
yeah,
and you see Pennywise in the back as the old lady,
yeah,
right? That, like, when they just give you a hint that it's him, everything immediately becomes that much creepier.
yeah,
And if you just play it like that, or like with the leper from the first one, it's just
Dude,
there.
you
It's
can just
there
do.
with
You
you.
can use a guy with prosthetics. You don't have to do a whole CGI
Right.
man. You know what I'm saying? Um,
And so when I saw that scene in the apartment with Beverly and the old woman, I was expecting a creepy old woman to come rushing out of the darkness attacking her, and
yeah.
that would have given me more of a jolt.
No,
But
they
like,
gave a big CGI. They gave like,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, like I said, they kind of messed up their own moment by giving us a good, scary moment, and then they blew it with a CGI person. You know, it would have been better
yeah,
if they had a person with prosthetics running out the dark at her. That would have been more scary to me because that would have been real.
yeah,
Besides a big fake CGI lady that didn't even look like he was really there, I was like, oh my goodness. So that was my complaints about this movie, man. Because they did another scene with a big CGI monster or whatever came, but I'm like, it's starting to feel like a blockbuster.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? It's starting to feel like, okay, the other movie had so much. What's the word I'm looking for? It had so much something to it, something special to it because of how it was that low budget. You know, they don't know they helped their
yeah,
budget. Oh, hi, Kev.
yeah,
They really helped their budget a lot by they helped their budget a lot by not. I'm sorry, they helped their budget. They helped their movie a lot by keeping that budget low because everything they just said fuck it, let's do use CGI, and it wasn't scary at all, man. Um,
yeah. I think because one of the things about it, like the whole franchise, is you can abstract fear any kind of way, and you can understand that people are supposed to be afraid, or you can actually make them afraid.
yeah, the first one just
And like
worked so
so
much
that was
better.
like one of the great things with like the all the stuff he did against what's the little neurotic kid, the hypochondriac.
Yeah,
All of his fears were like, you might not be afraid of lepers, but when you see this leopard come out of nowhere at this kid, you know you don't want to be anywhere near this thing.
yeah, I'm
You
afraid
know,
of lepers.
yeah,
Don't touch me, motherfucker.
yeah,
But look,
like
let's talk about the ending real quick because I got to wrap it up.
right, right,
So it was okay. Um, I was disappointed. First off, I'm gonna talk about the ending without spoiling it. I was disappointed, man, because they had a way. The way I heard that they changed it from the book. I'm not sure how the book was. I actually think the ending to the miniseries is better because they had a way to beat the villain that was make you say, "Well, then why the fuck are we here?" If that's all you had to do to beat this dude, then why the hell did I sit down for 3 hours? By the way, I have to go to work. I had to fit this time in here before I had to go to work, and I'm tired. I didn't want to be here. I could have been taking a nap, but I'm sitting here and I'm watching this movie, and y'all beat the villain that way,
yeah, yeah. Well,
man.
like because even the way they made it look like they were going to beat him before they went with the actual way, I'm like, okay, okay, I can see that. And I can see no one thinking of that too. So I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. Nah, nah,
No,
nah.
dude, I was very disappointed. Like, dude, seriously, like, what the fuck? If that's all you
Yeah,
had to do, why the fuck? Why the hell you fucking doing an Indian trial? You know what? I ain't gonna even say what happened, but why did you go through all this shit when that's all you had to do? That's all you had to
yeah.
do, really?
Like to take it there, like even if you say like you had to do the thing in order to get him to the point where you can beat him that way, you tell me nobody did that before? Nobody.
Yeah, they said
Nobody.
somebody, but it didn't work out so well.
Well,
But
yeah,
see,
it's
the
like
whole
if
point is what they ended up doing. Okay, what they tried to do didn't work, so they was like, okay, let's just try this, and whatever, and what else they tried was something that's like, uh, that's it, that's all you had to do. You know, that's what my mindset was, and
you
I
know
ain't
what
gonna
it
say
made me
exactly what.
think? It made me think anybody can beat Pennywise, So long as you give him a Twitter account.
I know.
That's all you gotta do. He's done.
I know. And you know, and that, not to spoil it, so I ain't gonna say what you mean by that, but it was very, very disappointing. Where it's like, okay, well, I can't really put him up there with the great villains, because if that's how you get beat, then I can't fuck with you like that, man. Sorry, dude. Shit is over.
It's like,
But
I'm sorry, you lost how? Give me your villain card.
I know,
Come
I
on.
know. He was like, man, it ain't my fault, man. It's the writers, man. They're fucking idiots. But yeah, you know, I didn't like the way they ended that, but I did like. I actually down there teared up when one of the characters passed away, and I don't even want to say who, but I don't know why. It's like I felt a lot of emotion for that, and I'm like, damn, maybe it's just they just shooting it right or something. I'm just like I'm actually feeling bad, but but yeah, other than the way they defeated the villain or whatever, it was a decent ending, you know, for as after aftermath and all that. You know, it was kind of
Yeah.
a nice little moment with all the characters or whatever. But so let's wrap it up. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a rating. Um, okay, so I enjoyed the movie for the most part. It wasn't as scary as I thought. It wasn't nowhere near as scary as the first one. All the actors did a fine job, but some of the things that they changed, I really didn't care for. I actually call me crazy. I think I like the miniseries of the adult part a little better than the actual this movie, and that's bad. I know that, and I'm not saying that this movie bad. It's just the fact that I just I just I just didn't like what they did with some of the changes, and it was
Yeah.
too long. So that kind of took down some points for me by being so long, because I was like, okay, before it was over, when it was probably like 30 minutes left, I was so ready to go. Not because I had to pee, but because I was like, okay, I'm a little over it. Y'all need to wrap it up. We already know what the
Yeah.
outcome gonna be. Y'all need to wrap it up. So for that, for all those complaints, I give the movie just all right, man. Sorry, I wanted to give it way higher. The other one I gave an epic. I would
Yeah.
like to give it a dope, but I just didn't feel like it was dope, man. It felt all right. Didn't feel bad. It felt like it was some good things going on, but it didn't feel. I just didn't. I didn't enjoy myself enough, so I give it all right.
I'm gonna tell you one thing that really cemented that I was only gonna be able to get this one right was when I was on the ride home. When I saw the first one, like I was seeing things after I saw that movie. You know what I'm saying?
Uh huh.
Like that shit stuck with me, like
Right.
super hard. Like a lot of that imagery I couldn't get out of my head. It was very pervasive. And this one, it was just like, okay, that was a movie I saw. It's not a bad movie. It's just I'm just kind of done with it.
Yeah. All right. So you give it all right.
Yeah, it's an eye for me.
All right, man. That is our review. I got to go to work. I did not notice the time was getting away from me. But that's our review for It Chapter 2. And tomorrow, we're going to have some stuff going on. Not sure what, but I'm going to catch up with you. So tomorrow we have them. We'll be talking about some stuff. We probably do a spoiler. I don't think we'll do a spoiler. No need. All right.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. We out of here. Peace.
Peace.